Halo, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Raudah Mulyani Asri. My register number 21107303028. In this video, I would like to make video about the summary phonemes, allphones, and minimal pairs. What is phonology? Phonology is the study of sound pattern in a language or dialect. Essentially, to do phonology, we are going to use some of the feature of phonetic sounds, and we are going to see how does feature interact with each other and lead to change in speech, and that's all related to phonemes, allphones, and minimal pairs. Phoneme sounds in a language. The concept of a phony and phoneme is a basic sounds in a language. It is a basic quantitative sounds in a language. So for instance, the key sounds come in English is a phoneme. There are many different types of keys, such as the palatal K in the word like cute, or we have aspirated K in the word cup, or even an aspirated K in the word big, but we hear them all as the same K, and that's what we mean by phoneme. So that concept of key in English. So this is consonant and this is vowel. As you can see, this is the place of articulation, and the point is you have to know the tongue when you say these vowels. Next, minimal pairs. What a phoneme is. We know English has a bunch of phoneme, but the question, how we find them? How do we know what a phoneme is? Well, define phoneme is the easiest way is to use something called minimal pairs, and that's when you find words that differ it's only one sound, but they also different meaning. The example for show you how to systematically we have words like food and food. They differ only one sound, so the T and T differ the rest of the word is exactly the same. Even though the differ one sounds, the meanings are different, so the meaning of food is not the same meaning as in food, and this means that the word food and food are minimal pairs, and because they are minimal pairs, that means that these are different phonemes in other words. The point is when you hear the word is similar but have different one phoneme meanings, it's minimal pairs. If two sounds or we find minimal pairs with two sounds that we say the D and T are phonemically distinct. So this means that the phoneme is slishy and brackets here is linked to the phone, which of course as in our square brackets. Allphone. What about sounds that don't contrast? Like example, safe and safe. The question is, can we talk about the environments that these sounds are in order to make some short generalization of how these sounds works? And the answer is when appears before vowelless consonants, so f don't have your vocal folds vibrating, and when you hear the word you didn't have that difference, so we don't necessarily notice that these are different sounds, like they shorten, but in our mind we don't think about them as different sounds. The explain is v and v are in complementary distribution. Maybe that they are part of the same mental representation in our mind, but they have different acoustic properties. So the phoneme is the one that occurs. It's in most places. So we say v at the lake, and one is the phoneme because it occurs in almost everywhere. The phoneme listen to allphones, and the short occurs come before the voiceless consonants. So that is the environment for the allphone v. And then, where does the standard occur? Well, it occurs everywhere else, and in that in the data set just showed the difference between voice consonant and voiceless consonant. But we can assume that if it comes before an other voice glide or something that's even possible, then then it will also be regular like each other because voiceless consonant and it's standard everywhere else. So this is what it means to be in the complementary distribution. There is no overlap, and we are never going to find the like and v before voiceless consonant. That will never happen, at least not in the dialect of English that speaks, and maybe other people. And finally, this difference between phoneme and allphones. Phoneme can have multiple allphones. Allphones, the different representation, and phoneme being that mental representation. And all allphones have some environment that they are produced in. So for every allphone, you have some specific environment that you can talk about where that allphone occurs. Conclusion, we can find out the phoneme means a basic sounds in a language. It's a basic consecutive sounds in a language. Minimal pairs mean that these are different phonemes in other words, and all phones different representation, and phoneme being that mental representation, and all phones have some environment that they are produced in. So for every allphones you have some specific environment that you can talk about where that allphone occurs. I think that's all from me. I'm sorry if I'm doing some mistake. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.